Okay, so now I have another use for your frozen pie crust, and we're going to make a rustic tart. I'm Annette from itsadelight.com. Glad you joined me. Let's take this thawed pie crust out of our bag and just roll this up. Add a little flour if you need to. I try not to add too much flour. I'm using parchment paper again. I like to use parchment paper. If you tip your parchment paper upside down after you cut it, then it stays flat. Also a little tip so it doesn't want to move on you or curl up. No real right or wrong. You can just get it about the thickness or the size that you want, because when you make a rustic tart, you're using just one crust. And that's what I'm really gonna do, is show you kind of how to make a 2-crust pie, because it's gonna have a top, but we're only using one crust. So when you wanna make a smaller pie for an occasion, this works great, and a 2-crust. Or if you just have one crust left over in the freezer and you're trying to use that up, then this is another great way. So we're making cherry. It's rolled out. Now I'm gonna take my cherry pie filling, okay? And I'm just gonna keep it in the center. You decide how much pie filling you want. There's no right or wrong. When I do apple, I just heap up however much I want. I go by looks. My husband loves cherry, so I could probably put extra in here and he wouldn't mind at all. I'm gonna do about that much. And now I am going to pull up the edges. I'm gonna show you how. So now I just pull one part, rips a little bit, it's okay. This is rustic, remember. Pull up a, whoops. Okay, now I got probably a little bit too much pie filling in mine. That's okay. This is, like I said, rustic. We're just gonna pull up these pieces little by little. I'm gonna smooth them on a little bit because I don't want it to leak out and be cracked. But you can see this is just a nice small little sized pie. I'm gonna do this in 2, otherwise, yeah, it's gonna crack on me a little bit. Okay, so you learned you can overfill it. Sometimes I'll take a little water to smooth this down. I'm not gonna fuss with it today. Literally lots of times I just do it quick, just like this. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I usually like to put a little dotted butter in there. I actually forgot, but you still can with the rustic, and I would just put just a little few tiny pieces, like so. And something else that I like to do often is I like to put a little bit of almond flavoring in there. Again, just because we love it. So again, before you pull your crust up, I would put this on typically before I pull my crust up. I'm not gonna measure it. You can decide. I'm probably using maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon, so not much at all. I want just a couple drops, little drizzle. And that's it, okay? Totally optional. Just an organic almond extract. Then I will, often with a rustic tart, I will take a little bit of egg wash. And yes, this is the whole egg. I usually do the whole egg. I put a little bit of water in it, makes it a nice golden. You can use just the white if you want to. You can do milk if you want to, some people do. And I'm just gonna brush it. Oftentimes, I'll be honest, I forget to do this part too. You get busy, you get doing a lot of things, and I always just whip this up real quick. And if I egg wash it, I will take a little bit of organic sugar granules, and sometimes, again, just sprinkle that on top. And this starts to look like you really fussed a lot, and yet we used one crust out of the freezer. We used part of a jar of cherry already canned up pie filling. And now we are gonna end up with this really lovely, lovely dessert. I'm gonna get things out of the way. So it's on the parchment, and literally I will slide this right on my cookie sheet. Simple, simple. And this is gonna go in the oven, and we're gonna bake this just like we would a pie. Any kind of double crust pie. I'm gonna bake it hot in a preheated oven. That's 400, somewhere between 400 and 425. I've got mine set at 410. And I'm gonna bake this till my whole crust is golden, and let's say 15 to 20 minutes. If I want it even more crusty, even 25 minutes with this one. Now our rustic cherry tart, one crust pie, is out, ready, golden. I'm gonna slide it off onto a cooling rack just like that. You could leave it on here. I feel like the bottom of your crust gets a little soggy. I always slide things out on a cooling rack. We'll get rid of that. And this looks wonderful. So I would just cut this out. You can cut into fours. You could cut into halves if you wanted to. And I'm just gonna go a little bit small, and we'll just serve up a little piece of this. Oh, I wish you guys were here. I literally would share some with you. This looks wonderful, still quite warm. And of course, we're gonna serve this one with ice cream too. And there it is, cherry rustic tart with our one crust that we had in the freezer ready, our home canned cherry pie filling, ready for somebody to enjoy, warm right out of the oven. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.